The beast didn't move. It just stood there, massive, dark, silent. Behind the thick plasma bars, its glowing red eyes watched everyone who passed. People walked faster when they came close. Some even crossed the street to avoid it. No one dared to look directly into its eyes for more than a second. But one boy did. 12-year-old Eli pressed his small face against the glass wall. He wasn't scared, just curious. "Get away from there." A soldier barked from the other side of the security fence. "It's not a zoo animal." Eli took one last look at the beast before stepping back. The creature's eyes met his. Wild, not angry. Just tired. For the last 3 weeks, the alien beast had been locked in the center of Colony Nova, the largest human settlement on planet Orvos. It had been captured in the deep jungles after a patrol ship crashed nearby. The first search team sent in never returned. The second team found only burnt trees, crushed metal, and blood. Then they saw it taller than a truck, claws longer than a man's arm, fur as black as space itself. They called it a monster. Killer. A threat, but no one knew what it really was. Eli couldn't stop thinking about it. Every day after school, he came to look. He stood quietly, sometimes for an hour, just watching the beast. And every time, the beast watched back. That evening, Eli sat at the dinner table with his father, Captain Ronan, one of the base's military officers. "They're saying it might be the last of its kind," Ronan said, scrolling through his tablet. "Not that it matters. The brass wants it gone." "Gone?" Eli asked. "Killed. Too dangerous to keep alive. Orders might come in tomorrow." Eli felt his chest tighten. "But it hasn't hurt anyone since it was captured." "Doesn't matter," Ronan said. "It's not human. We can't risk another outbreak." Eli went quiet. He didn't sleep much that night. The next morning before sunrise, he snuck out. The streets were empty, the sky still dark. He wore dark clothes, quiet shoes, and carried a small lunchbox. He knew the guard shifts changed at 0500 hours. His dad talked about it often. Eli moved fast, slipping through a maintenance tunnel that led beneath the security wall. A loose panel led him into the inner yard. From there, it was just a short walk to the cage, and there it was. The beast lay curled in the corner, chained. At the neck and ankles, it didn't stir when he came near. Eli slowly placed the lunchbox on the ground and sat cross-legged beside it just outside the barrier field. He opened the box, pulled out some cooked meat from last night's dinner, and placed it carefully near the bars. The beast's eyes opened. It lifted its head, sniffed, and slowly stood. Eli didn't flinch. "I'm not going to hurt you," he whispered. "You looked hungry." The beast stepped forward. Its giant clawed hand passed through the low-energy barrier, trembling slightly, and picked up the meat. It sniffed again, then slowly ate. Eli smiled. "See? It's good, right?" The creature grunted, low like a purr, but deeper. Then, to Eli's surprise, it sat down just like him. It tilted its head, looking at the boy not with hunger, but interest. Eli pulled a small tablet from his backpack. He showed it pictures of his home, of the jungle, even of stars and other planets. The beast's eyes followed the images. "I call you Tauren," Eli said softly. "It means shadow protector in Old Earth's language." The creature blinked. Slowly. Then something strange happened. Eli's head buzzed like a soft hum inside his brain. He looked around, confused. But the sound wasn't outside. It was inside. A deep voice echoed in his mind. "Tauren is good." Eli gasped. He looked at the beast. Its lips hadn't moved. "Did you say that?" Eli whispered. Tauren didn't answer aloud, but the hum returned. "You hear me." Eli felt a chill run down his spine. The beast was talking, but not with words. It was speaking into his mind. Yes, Eli said. I hear you. Torin lowered his massive head. Not monster, not killer. Lost, alone. Eli nodded, tears burning in his eyes. I know, behind them, alarm suddenly blared. Intruder detected. A loud voice shouted. Eli turned and saw guards running toward him. He looked at Torin one last time. I'll come back, he whispered. The beast didn't growl, didn't roar. Just watched as the guards dragged Eli away. One of them looked inside the cage and froze. The beast was smiling. Asterisk, the soldiers didn't know what to make of it. The beast, this massive, terrifying alien, had shown no aggression when the boy entered the cage zone. No roaring, no attempt to break free. Instead, it had just ... watched the boy, quiet still. That alone was more frightening than if it had attacked. Eli sat silently in the command room, head down while his father paced. Back and forth, angry and red-faced. You could have died, Eli. Captain Ronan slammed his hand on the table. What were you thinking? That thing is not a pet. But it didn't hurt me, Eli said softly. It spoke to me, not with words. In my head, Ronan paused. What? I swear, Dad, it said its name was Torin. It's not a monster. Ronan looked at the guards. Leave us. When the room was empty, he sat down, his voice calmer but firmer. Son, sometimes dangerous things pretend to be calm. That doesn't mean they're safe. You're lucky it didn't crush you. Eli stared into his father's eyes. It's not pretending. News of the incident spread fast. Some called Eli stupid. Others called him brave. But no one expected what would happen next. Every time Eli walked near the cage, the beast stood up and came forward. Every single time. The guards noticed. Scientists noticed. Even the council noticed. And still, Torin did not roar, did not threaten. It simply stared at the boy. And waited. 3 days later, Eli was brought to a private meeting room. He found an older woman already there, seated beside 2 nervous scientists. Her eyes were sharp, her face kind. Her uniform carried the silver mark of the Human-Alien Peace Commission. My name is Dr. Lysa Halden, she said gently. I heard you made contact with the alien. I'd like to ask you some questions, Eli. Will you help me? Eli nodded. They brought him back to the cage butt this time. They let him inside. The guards were terrified. Torin stood at the far end. Unmoved forward, slowly, careful not to step too close to the chains. Torin. He whispered. The beast turned then, without warning. A soft voice echoed in everyone's ears, but the beast's mouth never moved. Child returns, no fear. Good heart, Dr. Halden gasped. It's projecting telepathically, not just to the boy, to us all. Eli smiled. He's been trying to talk all along. One of the scientists stepped forward. Ask it something, Eli. Anything. Eli nodded. Torin, where are you from? A long pause. The lights flickered. Then, inside their minds, far beyond. Home, burned. Ship, lost me. Last, Eli felt a pain in his chest. Are you alone? The beast lowered its head. Yes, all gone. Thought humans would kill, but you came. Dr. Halden looked at the guards. We need to halt the execution order immediately. But it was already too late. That night, Eli couldn't sleep again. He sat on the rooftop, staring at the stars. Somewhere out there, Torin had a home, a people. A story now, he had no one, just Eli. The next morning, Ronan burst into Eli's room, face grim. Pack a bag, you're coming with me. Where? To the council chamber. They've made a decision. Inside the chamber, 10 leaders of the colony sat in silence as video footage of the beast's peaceful behavior played in the background. Then came the moment where Eli entered the Kajand. The moment Torin didn't harm him. Eli stood tall. Beside his father, Dr. Halden gave her report. The creature has shown no violent behavior in captivity. Its ability to communicate proves intelligence. I believe this is a misunderstood being, not a wild threat. A man in a red uniform stood, Counselor Varn, cold, stern. The law is clear. All unknown Class Omega species are considered high risk. We cannot take chances. It attacked a patrol. It killed 6. Dr. Halden replied calmly. That patrol fired first. We reviewed the crash data. Murmurs filled the room. Counselor Varn didn't flinch. Regardless, the vote stands. He turned to Ronan. You are ordered to carry out the termination tomorrow morning. Eli stepped forward. Wait, please. All eyes turned to him. Eli looked at the council. You call him a monster? But you never even looked into his eyes. He's not a killer. He's scared, hurt, alone. He spoke to me. Because I listened. That's all he ever wanted. Varn looked unimpressed. The boy is emotional. This is not a decision based on feeling. Another counselor, a woman in green, raised her hand. Perhaps it should be. Silence. Then a whisper from the shadows. Eli turned. Torin stood outside. The chamber door, escorted by guards enchained. Everyone backed away. But Torin didn't move. He looked at Eli, then stepped forward, slow, careful, and gently placed his massive claw on Eli's small shoulder. The room froze. The beast bowed. A silent gesture of trust, of peace. At first, Eli thought it was just a dream. He was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, when the voice came again. Not outside, not through a speaker. Inside his mind, Eli, come. The tone was soft, like a whisper from a deep cave. Familiar, but not scary. He sat up quickly. The voice was Torin's, and it wasn't calling from inside the cage. It was coming from the jungle. The council hadn't officially released Torin, but after what happened in the chamber, they couldn't bring themselves to kill him either. So, they chose a quiet compromise. Torin would be escorted far into the jungle back. Where he was first found, Dan left there. Alive, unchained, but alone. Everyone hoped the beast would just disappear. But Eli knew better. By midday, Eli was gone. He didn't tell his father, didn't leave a note. He just packed a bag with water, a flashlight. Some food ants started walking toward the jungle. The guards at the outer gate didn't stop him. He was the boy who calmed the beast. No one dared question him now. The trees grew thick. The light dimmed. Vines hung low like ropes. The deeper he went, the quieter the world became, until a soft growl echoed through the shadows. Eli stopped from behind a tree. 2 glowing eyes blinked. Then Torin stepped forward, even without the chains. The beast looked heavy, tired, like the jungle itself had pushed down on him. You called me? Eli whispered. Torin's voice filled his head again. You heard? Not many can. You speak like not just words, Eli said slowly. It's like feelings too. Images. Memories? Torin nodded slowly. Bond forms. Strong now. You hear deeper. See clearer. Suddenly, images flashed through Eli's mind. A burning ship, screams. Beasts like Torin running through fire. A child crying. A massive explosion, and then silence. Eli stepped closer. That was your family, wasn't it? Torin lowered his head. All gone. I failed to protect. 4. A long time, the two just stood together, one small human boy. One towering alien creatures rounded by ancient trees. Then Torin turned and began to walk. "Where are we going?" Eli asked. "To the heart of the jungle. My people's resting place." The path was hidden, covered in roots and moss. But Torin moved like he knew every stone, every broken branch. Hours passed. Then the trees opened and Eli gasped. Before them stood ruins. Giant stone pillars cracked with age. Circular symbols glowed faintly across the walls. Vines wrapped around everything like the jungle was trying to hide it. "This is..." Eli stepped forward in awe. Alien and beautiful. Torin stopped beside a broken statue, one that looked just like him. "This was our home, before the sky ships, before the wars." Eli reached out and touched the statue. Suddenly, a deep hum vibrated under his fingers. The symbol beneath his hand lit up. Torin's head snapped toward him. "You carry something?" "What do you mean, ancient spark?" "Old bond. Your kind. We were once one with mine. Long ago." Eli looked at his hand. The mark was still glowing. "You're saying humans and your species were connected? Friends?" Torin's voice became softer, almost sad. "All things change. Fear broke trust. Now we hide. You forget. We remember." Eli turned in a slow circle, taking it all in. The carvings, the glowing stones, the peace in the air. "This place, it's not just ruins," he said. "It's a message." Torin moved to the center of the ruins and knelt beside a pool of still water. He touched it with one claw. Ripples spread dot in the reflection. Eli didn't see himself. He saw two figures, one human, one beast, standing side by side together. Then the ground trembled. Both turned sharply. A distant roar rolled through the jungle, low and thunderous. Eli froze. "Was that another one?" Torin growled, voice dark. "No, not like me. Wild, broken. One that lost the bond." "You mean it's dangerous?" "Yes. It follows me. It hates the light inside you." A branch snapped nearby. Eli's skin went cold. "We have to leave." Torin stepped forward. "No, we stay. You must learn who you truly are, what you can awaken." Eli clenched his fists. "I'm just a kid." Torin's voice deepened in his mind. "Not just. You are the bridge. The one who listens. The one who sees." Another roar came. Louder now. Eli looked at the jungle, then at Torin, then at the ruins. "I'm not ready," he whispered, but Torin's eyes glowed with calm fire. "Neither was I, but we walk forward anyway." The jungle never slept. Even at night, strange lights flickered between the leaves. Insects hummed, and glowing vines pulsed like veins in the dark. But something else now moved beneath that canopy. Something hunting. Eli sat beside the old pool in the ruins. His knees were pulled to his chest, his eyes wide. He hadn't spoken in hours. The second roar had come closer. Torin stood on the edge of the clearing, silent and still, like a statue made of muscle and shadow. His head turned slowly, scanning the trees. "It watches," he said, through thought. "It knows I am here. It smells your fear." Eli whispered, "What is it?" "It was one of us. Once, but the bond broke. It fell into rage. Now it only kills." Eli's stomach twisted. "Why's it after us?" Torin's eyes glowed faintly in the dark. "It hates what we are, what we were. It hates the light in you." A cold wind blew across the ruins. In the shadows, something moved. Branches cracked softly, too slow for any animal, too deliberate. Torin turned toward Eli. "You must run." "Now?" "No." Eli stood, fists shaking. I'm not leaving you. You must live. That is enough. Eli stepped forward. No, that's not enough anymore. If we run, it wins. If we hide, we stay scared. I'm tired of being afraid. Torin stared at him for a long moment. Then, slowly. The beast nodded. Back at the colony, alarms were flashing. Captain Ronan stormed into the control room. Where is my son? A young officer stood up. Sari was seen heading into the southern jungle. He took supplies, alone. Ronan's face went pale. Get the hovercraft ready. I'm going in. But sir, the jungle's locked under Class 4 threat level. Something's out there. Something big. Ronan paused, then looked his soldiers straight in the eyes. My son is out there, and if something's hunting him, I'm hunting it. Eli moved quietly through the trees behind Torin, ducking under low branches. The alien beast knew every path, every route. But the jungle was not quiet anymore. It was listening. A deep rumble echoed again. Closer, Eli grabbed a branch to steady himself. It's stalking us. Torin stopped. It waits for fear to grow. When it is thick in the air, it strikes. They reached an old cave, hidden by hanging vines. Inside, the walls were covered in claw marks. Some were ancient, some were fresh. This place, Eli whispered. Is this where it lives, Torin? Shook his head. No. This was once a temple. Now it is a grave. Double quotes suddenly dashed silence. No wind, no hums, no lights. Eli felt it before he saw it. Something massive moved. Just beyond the entrance, then to glowing eyes in the dark. But these weren't red like Torin's. They were yellow. Burning, wild. A shape emerged larger than Torin, covered in scars. Its face twisted in rage. Its breath steaming in the cold air. The feral beast let out a roar that shook the ground. Eli stumbled backward, covering his ears. Torin stepped between the boy and the monster. Stay behind me. The feral one lunged. Torin met it head-on. The crash of their bodies echoed like thunder. Claws scraped. Teeth snapped. Trees split in half from the force. Eli ran to the side, heart pounding, searching for anything to help. Then he saw it. A crystal, embedded in the wall of the cave, glowing softly. The same light he saw in the ruins. He grabbed it. It was warm. Humming the moment he touched it, his mind filled with images, not his own, Torin's kind. Standing tall beside. Humans, peace, fire, war, betrayal. Silence. Eli dropped to his knees, overwhelmed. Then the voice returned, but not Torin's. Something older. You carry the bond. Awaken it. Eli turned to see the two beasts locked in battle. Torin was slowing, wounded. The other's claws raked across his side. Blood spilled. No. Eli screamed. He raised the crystal high end. It glowed bright. The wild beast froze. Torin gasped. The Heartstone? You found it. The feral one turned toward Eli, growling, but now confused. Its claws twitched. Eli stepped forward, holding the crystal tightly. Stop, you don't have to do this. But the beast only roared in pain. Torin looked at the boy. Cannot hear you, unless you show it the truth. Eli clenched the crystal, then let it see. He pressed the stone to his own chest. A shockwave of light burst from him. For a brief moment, the entire jungle lit up. The trees, the sky, the air itself shimmered, and in that light, the feral beast saw it. It saw the past, the bond, the peace, the forgotten friendship. It saw what it used to be, and it staggered. Torin stepped forward, bleeding but standing tall. The wild one. looked at him, then at Eli. Then, with a low growl, it turned and vanished into the trees. The silence returned. But it was different now. Peaceful. Torin. Limped to Eli, eyes wide with awe. You did. What I could not. You reminded it who we were. Eli fell to his knees, exhausted. I didn't know I could. Torin placed a claw gently on his shoulder. You are the first in many lifetimes. A true bridge between worlds and deep in the shadows. Something else awoke. Something older. Something watching. Captain Ronan gripped the controls of the hovercraft tightly as it soared above the thick canopy of the jungle. The night was dark, the wind fierce, and the silence terrifying. They should have been back by now. He muttered. Beside him sat a tracker officer, scanning the forest with thermal vision. 2 signatures found near Sector 9. One large, one small. Could be your son and the beast. Ronan didn't answer. His fingers curled tighter around the stick. I'm coming, Eli, he whispered. Just hold on. It's deep in the jungle ruins. Eli sat with Torin beside a crackling fire they'd built with broken roots and glowing stones. Torin's side bled, and each breath from the beast came slower than the last. You need help, Eli said, voice tight. You're losing too much blood. Torin blinked slowly. You saved me. With the Heartstone, that was. Not something a child should have been able to do. I'm not just a child anymore, Eli whispered. Not after all this. He looked at the Heartstone still glowing in his pack. It pulsed softly, like a heartbeat. We are connected now, Torin said. But that connection brings danger. They will come. The Council. Your father? They will think I turned you. They won't understand. Eli stood. Then we go to them before they come to us. Torin looked up. We walk into fire. Yes, Eli said. And we show them who you really are. Suddenly, a whoosh overhead broke the silence. They both looked up. Bum drop flare burned across the sky. Seconds later, another and another. Torin stood quickly. They are already here. Ronan's boots hit the ground with a thud. Weapons drawn. Soldiers moved through the trees behind him, scanning every inch of the terrain. Thermals show movement inside the ruins, sir. He nodded. Fan out. No shots unless ordered. But deep down, Ronan felt something he hadn't expected fear. Not of the beast, but of what he'd see in his son's eyes. Inside the ruins, Eli and Torin moved quickly. Flares lit up the trees. In fiery orange. Drones hovered overhead. The sound of soldiers shouting echoed closer. We can't run forever, Eli said. They'll think we're trying to escape. Torin looked around. His breathing was sharp. Then we do not run. We climb. He pointed to a high ridge above the ruins. A crumbled tower, once part of the old alien temple. If we speak from above, maybe they will listen. 20 minutes later, soldiers reached the ruins, guns up. Eyes sharp, but they found only firelight, and strange symbols glowing on the rocks. Then a voice shouted from above, "WAIT." All heads turned. There, standing tall on the ridge, was Eli, and beside him, bleeding but proud Torin. Ronan gasped. Eli, his son, raised a hand. I'm not hurt. Don't shoot. But one soldier panicked. He aimed his weapon. A shot rang out. The laser bolt hit the tower near Torin's shoulder, spraying stone and sparks. Nitrogen monoxide. Eli screamed. Torin didn't. Flinch, he stepped forward, shielding the boy with his body. We mean nitrogen monoxide. Harm. The voice boomed in every soldier's head. Even those who had never heard Torin speak before felt it, words made of memory and emotion, not sound. Ronan. Push through the squad, arms raised. Hold your fire. Eli looked down at him. Dad, please listen. He's not the enemy. But suddenly, the heart stone pulsed, and before anyone could react, an explosion ripped through the jungle behind them. A fireball erupted from the trees. The feral beast had returned, but this time it wasn't alone. Behind it, 3 more, smaller, but wild, snarling eyes glowing yellow. Eli's voice cracked. More of them? Torin growled low. They heard the Heartstone and followed, but they are lost to the bond. They come only to destroy. The fire spread quickly. Trees lit like paper. Smoke rose into the night. Panic erupted among the soldiers. Ronan shouted, "Defensive line, protect the perimeter." But they were already surrounded. Amid the chaos, Eli turned to Torin. "Can you fight?" Torin's claws opened and closed, enough to give you a chance. Eli looked to the Heartstone. He remembered the image from before. The vision of the human and the beast standing side by side. He stepped forward, standing shoulder to shoulder with Torin. Together, the first feral beast charged. Torin met it with a roar that shook the flames. Claws clashed, bones cracked. Torin moved with speed and fury Eli had never seen. Then the second lunged toward Eli. Time slowed. The world became a blur, and just before it reached, Kim's laser bolt hit it square in the chest. Ronan, he lowered his rifle, eyes wide. "I believe you now," he said. Eli smiled relieved. The battle raged, but for the first time, humans and beast fought together side by side. And when it was over, when the flames cooled, only one of the wild creatures still breathed. It crawled, broken, toward the Heartstone, and with a final spark from Eli's hand, it stopped, not from pain, from peace. As dawn broke, the jungle smoked, but it was quiet. Eli sat beside Torin, who lay wounded, but alive. Ronan knelt beside them. "Both, I was wrong," he said, "and I'm sorry." Eli looked up at him. "It's not over yet. There are more like him, lost, angry, but maybe they don't have to stay that way." Torin opened one eye. "The fire cleanses, but only hands like yours rebuild." The air was thick with the scent of burnt wood and smoke. Ash floated like snowflakes through the trees. Eli sat beside Torin, who was lying on a soft bed of moss, breathing slow but steady. The battle was over, but the pain still lingered in the body. And in the heart, Captain Ronan stood nearby, arms crossed, watching the boy clean Torin's wounds with water from his canteen. "I've seen a lot of things," he finally said, "but never a creature like him protecting a child like you." Eli didn't look up. "That's because he's not a creature. He's someone." Ronan sighed. "Then let's give him more than a patch of dirt to die in." They moved at sunrise, following Torin's slow but determined steps deeper into the jungle. Eli walked at his side. His father and 2 guards followed behind, cautious but no longer pointing weapons. Torin led them beyond known maps. Through valleys and under stone arches, swallowed by green, they passed waterfalls that whispered in alien tongues, and glowing trees with bark like glass, and then they saw it. A vast, sunken bowl of land miles wide hidden beneath the jungle canopy. Vines draped over smooth, ancient walls. Towering stone beasts circled the edges, frozen in time. In the center stood a spire, the heart of the jungle. Even Ronan gasped, "What is this place?" Torin looked up at the towering spire. This was the cradle of my kind, where the bond with humans was first forged. Before the forgetting, before the war. Eli felt the Heartstone in his bag grow warmer. He pulled it out. It pulsed in his hand, reacting to the air. To the truth buried here, Torin turned to him. "It calls to you. Because you are not just the bridge now, you are the key." They entered the ruins. Inside the spire, ancient carvings lit up as they passed images of humans and beast-like beings. Like Tauren, working together, raising cities. Exploring stars, Eli stared at a massive mural. It showed two children, one human. One alien standing in front of a glowing tree. Hands clasped, light pouring from them. Tauren spoke softly. Long ago, your kind and mine were one in spirit. Our minds touched without fear. But fear is like fire in dry leaves. It spreads fast. Eli turned. What happened? Tauren lowered. His head, one human betrayed the bond. Took knowledge meant to be shared and used it for war. We tried to stop it, but others followed. Your kind forgot. Ours fled. The bond was broken. Ronan stepped forward. But if the bond is broken, why does the Heartstone still react to him? Tauren looked at Eli, because the bond never truly dies. It sleeps, and sometimes it wakes in one who listens. They reached the center of the chamber. A strange device stood there, half stone, half metal, humming softly. Floating just above. It was a second Heartstone larger, glowing with steady light. Tauren staggered forward. This is the core, the last echo of what we were. If awakened, it can send a signal to others like me. Across worlds, Eli's eyes widened. There are more of you, scattered, silent, hiding. But if they hear the bond return, they may come back. But we barely survived this time, Ronan said. What if they don't come in peace? Eli answered, voice steady. Then we show them what peace looks like he showed me. Tauren nodded, double quotes, to activate it. A bonded one must step into the light. Give it memory, feeling, hope. Eli stepped forward the moment he placed his hand on the device. A surge of energy wrapped around him, bright and cold. His mind flooded. Visions of Tauren's kind. Their long sleep, their pain, their hope. He saw stars and lost ships. He saw dreams trapped in silence, and he shared his own, his loneliness before he met Tauren. His fear, his belief that kindness still mattered. He poured it all into the core. The room glowed, a pulse shot upward through the spire, into the sky, across the stars. Somewhere, far away, something stirred. A pair of glowing red eyes opened in the dark. Eli stumbled back, drained but smiling. Tauren caught him with one arm. It is done. The message is sent. Now, we wait. Ronan looked up at the sky through the broken dome above. Let's just hope the ones who answered that call still remember who we are. That night, Eli sat at the edge of the ruins, watching the stars. Tauren sat beside him, silent. I wonder, who will come? Eli whispered. And if they'll trust me? Tauren's deep voice filled his mind. They won't trust words. They'll trust what you do next. Eli nodded. I'll be ready. A soft wind moved through the ruins. The stars above shimmered like cold fire, untouched by war or fear. Somewhere far away, a signal was flying, carried by the ancient core, stretching across light years, and the boy who had awakened it waited. Eli sat beside the glowing Heartstone, legs crossed, arms around his knees. His eyes stayed on the sky. I wonder what they'll look like, he whispered. Will they be like you? Tauren stood a few feet away, his shadow long in the moonlight. Some will, some will not. But all will feel the call. The next morning, the colony awoke to something strange in the sky. A tear in the clouds, a shipno. More than one descended slowly. They were sleek, made of metal and stone, glowing with the same patterns as the ruins in the jungle. People ran, soldiers raised weapons, alarms screamed, but there was no attack. Only silence and a voice. that whispered into every mind, "We have heard." The bond is remembered. Torin stood tall at the edge of the jungle with Eli at his side and Ronan just behind them. Dozens of beings emerged from the landing ships. Each looked different. Some tall and armored, others small and soft-skinned. A few had wings, but they all shared one thing: the red eyes. The mark of the bond, Eli stepped forward slowly. The crowd behind him watched in breathless silence. He raised one hand. No weapon, just a gesture of peace, and one by one the aliens bowed. That night, under a blanket of stars, the fire was lit. In the ruins again, but this time, it was not just a human and a beast sitting beside it. It was dozens: humans, aliens, elders, and children. Soldiers and survivors. Eli watched a small alien child, no taller than his knee, hand a glowing fruit to one of the human guards. The guard hesitated, then smiled. Peace was being built not by governments, but by hands and hearts. Later, Torin sat with Eli by the ancient pool. The stars reflected off the water, as if the universe itself was watching. "You think they'll stay?" Eli asked. "Some will," Torin replied. "Some will go to tell others. But what matters is what we've begun." Eli turned to him. "What happens now? To you?" Torin was quiet for a long moment. Then, "My time in this form ends soon. The fight, the fire, the pain it leaves, scars inside. But what we built will stay." Eli felt his throat tighten. "You're dying." Torin looked up at the stars. "I am returning." Eli lowered his head. "I don't want to be the bridge without you." Torin placed one clawed hand gently on Eli's shoulder. "Then don't be. Be something more." In the days that followed, the ruins became a meeting ground. Torin's body grew weaker, slower, but his mind remained strong. He spent his last days teaching, showing humans and aliens alike how to share memory, how to communicate without fear. Ronan watched his son grow not taller, but deeper. Wiser, the boy who once stood outside a cage was now at the center of something far greater. On the final day, the jungle grew quiet again. Birds did not sing. The vines did not glow. The wind itself paused. Torin lay beneath the old spire, wrapped in silken leaves, surrounded by those who now called him elder. Eli knelt beside him, holding his massive hand. "Don't go," he whispered. Torin's voice was faint, like smoke. "I must, but part of me stays." In the bond, in the roar, and with one last breath, the beast closed his eyes. Silence fell. Then, just as the sun rose a low, echoing roar rolled across the jungle. It wasn't loud, it was deep, full of peace and memory. A final goodbye, a final reminder. Years passed, Eli grew into a young man, but never left the jungle. The ruins became a school, a council, a new beginning. Humans and alien kin learned side by side. Sometimes, at night, when the stars were just right, he would still hear the whisper in his mind. "You reached out, and we remembered." In the end, it wasn't the roar that terrified the galaxy. It was the silence that followed, and the boy who broke it with a single outstretched hand.